Hey, Bob Sador, otherwise known as Old Guy Geek. We're talking a little bit about having an external hard drive for whatever you want, for your main system or your laptop for that matter. What we're going to look at too is two different solutions. One is you can buy yourself an external hard drive solution like this, where you can mount one or more serial ATA or SATA drives in here, and then plug and hook up via an interface here to your system. Now the question is that what kind of interface do you want? Nowadays there's a couple different solutions. This happens to be a 2.0 USB. We're going to go ahead and do a test on that. There's also a availability to put on a 3.0, or even now that we have a third option, which is the eSATA interface. That if you have it on your motherboard, you can use that. And what we're going to test besides this one here is we're going to go take a look at this is a solution that came to me because I just happen to have an extra SATA drive around. Now if you look here, this is a Kingston SATA drive, and it's installed in a carrying case that you can use outside of a system. So I end up with an extra SATA drive, or SSD drive, and it has a regular 1394 plug-in here, and it goes to a USB connection, which can go to either 2.0 or 3.0. What I want to do on this is I'm going to install my games on here and install that and use it and see how it works with my Lenovo laptop. Now this is the original Yoga, not the 2.0 version, but the older version, so we're going to run some games off of it. So today we're going to take a look at all these solutions and see how you can use an external hard drive with your Windows 8 system. So here I am, I have my SSD plugged into my system, and it's being there it is on the local disk H. I've got quite a few files on it already. I have 80 gigabytes free, so I can start moving some of my game files over to that. That's going to allow me to install those, and I don't have to redo them again for Steam. So let's take a look at that. Now you can do this several different ways. I'm going to go ahead and unplug this hard drive from this system over here, and I'm going to plug it into my Lenovo, and I don't really care what drive this is right now. I'm just going to plug it in there. So it recognizes it up here. Local disk comes up. I can go ahead and go into this PC over here and find it. Now I'm going to switch over to the screen capturing here instead of the camera to take a look at the rest of what we're doing. So here we are on the new system. I have the local disk plugged in over here. Excuse the pointer being off a little bit. The capture program offset the pointer. But basically we're going to go over here to the games directory, and we're going to come over here and go out to steampower.com, which is the place that I get all my games from, or recent games from. And we're going to go ahead and install Steam on this particular computer. And I already have installed on my other ones. You can say install, click on the green bar and say go ahead and do that. And I'm going to run Steam. And again, the purpose of this is to put Steam and install it on the hard drive, external hard drive, rather than the internal hard drive where it formerly was. So here we are. Since we said run, it's going to go ahead and launch the program right after the security scan is done, which is what we have here. And it's going to go ahead and say what you want to do, and you have to do the usual stuff, of course. Agree to different things. So we're going to go ahead and do that, and we click on next down here. And instead of here, this is the destination folder here, okay? So instead of doing the default one, okay, program files x86 Steam, we're going to go ahead and put it somewhere else. So we're going to go ahead and say put it on this PC, but we're going to go ahead and say put it on the local disk D under games. So I'm going to click on games and say, and there we are, D game Steam, and we're going to go ahead and say install, and there we are doing the install. So I've cut down the time it takes to do this load. Steam comes up, installs itself, and then it does an update of itself. to make sure it's current with that particular day's release. And it's going to ask you, once you get in there, if you already have a Steam account, it's going to ask you for some security information, which they'll send you an email with a passcode to confirm that you on this computer is the same person that's accessing on the other computer, your normal computer, and you have the rights to access the account from this location. Now, if you're go ahead and click on a program like this, and you'll see that we're ready to go ahead and do it on Steam's games. You can download it from here. Now, if you have a slow connection, you can do something about that. You can unplug it from your laptop or your external system, wherever you have it plugged into, and we're going to plug it back into the other system that we originally had it plugged in at. And here I'm going out to my Steam directory. And here you'll see here the directory here, the pointer's working now, by the way. We'll go to the Steam apps and we'll go to the common, and you'll see that all the games are in here. All many gigs of games I have are in here. So all you need to do is find out the particular ones you want. So first we're going to do over here, okay, in the Steam apps directory, we're going to go ahead and create another directory called to match that was over here. We're going to come over here and say new folder, and we're going to say, of course, common. Create that, because that's where it's eventually going to store everything. And then we just come over here, and then we come over here to the common directory here, and I find the game that I wanted to run. So I'm just going to copy Batman Origins this way, rather than having to download it. So it's a little quick way of getting the copy of the program over to the hard drive. So now what I've done is I'm going to do the same thing I did before. I'm going to grab it off of my other system that I've copied all my game files off of that, plug it back into the Lenovo over here. So here we are. I'm go ahead and plugged it back into my Lenovo. I've installed Batman, and here we are with an external look at it. And let's go ahead and start moving around. Now, some people argue about putting it on an SSD, the wear and tear and all that, but as you can see on my old Lenovo, things are running pretty well off the external hard drive and off the Lenovo itself. So let's take a look here, a little bit longer look at it. Here's the game updating. You see the graphics are working fine. Again, this is an Intel HD 4000 processor, older processor on this Lenovo. So it's going to affect the gameplay more than the hard drive. And again, the SSD, that's your call what kind. You have an external large SATA drive, regular SATA drive, how many terabytes you want. But it's not going to affect your gameplay whatsoever. It's more about your graphics chips and all that. So there's how you can add an SSD, whether it's an SSD externally or a big terabyte regular SATA drive. And by the way, if you want to go on a business trip with your Lenovo, an SSD is a great solution because of the small footprint. Just throw it in the luggage and there you go. And by the way, there's a slot for another internal hard drive in your original Yoga, and I covered that in another video as well. Hey, for more great tips from Old Guy Geek, don't forget to subscribe. Share it with your friends on Facebook or Twitter. Take a look at our playlist, Windows 8 playlist, Windows Phone 8 playlist, and a general how-to, and of course our latest featured video. And thanks for watching.